Welcome to Cobra Kai Canada. I am your host, Alir, and today my special guest is Jake Huang, who plays Hyan-Woo in Cobra Kai. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So we'll get to Cobra Kai in a second. Um, you have a very unique and interesting background. You're a stunt and fight coordinator and actor. So, like, you've done stunts for like movies such as Amazing Spiderman, Django, Captain Marvel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not the 1990 version, I wish, but that's what I grew up on. I'm old school. I grew up in the VHS days. TMNT, Out of the Shadows, and the list goes on. So, what made you want to pursue a career in all three categories I just mentioned? Like, that's crazy.
It was originally I was kind of pursuing a career in just stunts in general, that was kind of what I was trying it out, and figured it was a direction that I really enjoyed. So went became a professional stuntman, and then as time went on, you kind of find your different little things that you like to do, a little more specific, a little more specialized, and yeah, I found that I gravitated towards fights in general, and then stunt coordination is kind of the next step in the mix, where you're more designing things with the creators, directors, and stuff like that, and then you're able to mainly keep people safe and do the
Right.
amazing things you see on film in a safe manner. But it takes a lot of experience in many different facets of the industry to pull that off. So that's definitely something that it takes a lot of working up to.
Well, yeah, just like just the fact that like you do stunts and fights and act as well. Like, now let me ask you, like, for stunts, is there any kind of like training or schooling involved or anything like that? I always wondered that.
They have stunt schools for different
Okay.
purposes. Yeah, they
Hmm.
have like live show stunt schools for the most part, and I've seen a couple film ones pop up, mostly international.
Okay.
So just outside the US, yeah. But as far as any other specific training for stunts, there's not a terribly large amount. You kind of got to just get your feet wet in other aspects, like whether you're a car person or a martial arts person or fire, anything within the disciplines of the stunt industry. Then
Right.
um yeah, then the rest is just kind of learn as you go and meet people and see what's going on.
That's so cool because I've never actually interviewed somebody that does like stunt and fight, coordinates stunt and fights and stuff like that. So actors, yeah, I've done, but like this is brand new to me. So I'm like very interested in to see like, the whole process and how that works. Now, Jake, you've been doing and practicing martial arts since a very young age. And just by watching you on Cobra Kai, you gave me Daryl Vidal vibes. And the reason I say that is because you're an actual martial artist and Daryl Vidal as well. And so, what I want to ask you is how many martial arts styles do you know?
um I don't think there's a real good answer for that.
Okay.
They so like I started off with kind of a Taekwondo derivative style of martial arts, which it turned into being just known as sport karate,
Hmm.
and that was something that was taking kind of like a mixed hybrid of Jeet Kune Do and Taekwondo, and they kind of made its own thing. So it was like traditional Taekwondo sparring with more of a kickboxing influence,
Wow.
essentially. Yeah, and then from that, that's where I got a lot of my basic training, and then I went into doing more like wushu stuff,
Oh,
more soft
wow.
style Chinese martial arts.
Really?
Yeah, and then after that, I got into a little bit more like hard style, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and
Okay.
Muay Thai type stuff. So,
Wow.
and then from that point on, it just kind of was a whole mess of things once I moved out to LA and
Hmm.
started pursuing the industry. Everyone is kind of a pro in their own right, so you start picking things up, trading information, and training with each other. It's a super cool kind of mixing pot out there that you start learning. So I
Yeah.
can't really give you an honest number and exact amount of styles, but I have experience in quite a lot of them.
Fair enough. That's crazy that you know wushu because like that originated in China in the 500s,
Hmm.
and from, I believe, from the Liang dynasty or something like that. And it's pretty crazy. Like, I've looked into wushu, and it's pretty hardcore. And the fact that you know that, wow, I'm actually really impressed. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mentioned Daryl Vidal because, like, when I was a kid and I watched the first Karate Kid on VHS, and they had the All Valley tournament, the only guy that hit me that could actually look like an actual martial artist could fight was Daryl Vidal. And
Yeah.
you coming on season 5, I could tell, like, okay, this guy knows martial arts. Like, this guy's also the real deal. So that's why I kind of, like, you gave me those little flashbacks of Daryl Vidal. So, Jake, did you have any favorite martial artists growing up?
Growing up, so I actually stopped doing martial arts for a while because, my family ran a hard times, couldn't really afford the classes or anything. So,
Right.
but what got me to really want to go back was watching Jackie movies. Jackie Chan was kind of, for
Legend.
some reason, I just gravitated to him. I think it was his kind of theatrical style, a little bit over the top, that Buster Keaton type physical, yeah, just like his physical performance and everything. It was just everything was it was for entertainment but based in reality, which was a nice blend, I think. And so I really gravitated to Jackie doing it, growing up. I still watched a lot of like the older
Oh,
Chinese
me too.
movies, Jet
Me too.
Li, stuff like that. Yeah,
Dude,
but
you're
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, as far as martial arts goes, Jackie was definitely one of my top ones.
Oh man. Okay, like, I have a couple, like, favorite martial artists, but no one, like, no specific order, you know what I mean? But at least the ones I grew up with is Jean-Claude Van Damme. Love
Mm,
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jet Li, and I'll tell you why I like Jet Li. He is you know what? Even though I just said I wouldn't, like, really rate him, but Jet Li would probably be my number one. I'll tell you why. Fist of Legend to
mm,
me is one of my favorite martial artist movies, but the fight sequences in that movie is like the best I've seen out of any martial arts movie, like, ever. It's insane, in my opinion, right? I'm just going by my opinion.
oh, of course.
And Philip Ree from Best of the Best. I'm not
Mm.
too sure if you're familiar with
Oh
him.
yeah.
Okay, so you know Philip Ree. I love Philip Ree. He studied Taekwondo. I think he's like a 7th degree black belt, and Hapkido. I think
Hmm.
Korean Hapkido, and also Dara Vidal, who I mentioned earlier, because he's a grandmaster. So that guy's no joke as well. So those would be like my kind of, like, I mean, but there's more. There's plenty more out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, those are just the ones off the top of my head. So moving on, Jake. I know some Cobra Kai fans may not recognize you without the blonde hair. And now, did you like transforming into your, what you got a full head of hair right
Yeah,
now, black. That's your original color. And
yeah,
why do
yeah.
they make you do blonde hair?
So the pitch was that I look too nice. Um, yeah,
Oh,
the
that's
big
great,
three, yeah, John, Josh, and
Hayden.
they were not so convinced with me being the guy because I actually got thrown into the mix later on. I wasn't really supposed to be in as this character. It's supposed to be someone else. But they had booked another job, so they were like, "Yeah, I can't do that anymore." And so we were kind of scrambling to find someone to fill the role. And then, my boss Don was like, "Oh, what about Jake?" And so he brought him and Ken Deerfield, the stunt coordinators. They brought
Sure,
it
I know.
to, yeah, they brought it to the big three, and John, Josh, and Hayden were like, "Yeah, I think he's too nice looking." So they're like, "Okay, well, let's figure this out." And then it somehow got pitched around to, like, make me like the dude from Rush Hour, and they'll make me look more mean and different and stuff. So they photoshopped some blonde hair on me and stuff, and they were like, "Okay, how about this? This looks good now, right?" And so
That's
they bought it.
crazy.
So here I became Hyun-Woo.
Wow. I'm glad you're Hyan-Woo, because, like, honestly, you've grown to become like one of these characters I just fell in love with right away. And as soon as you stepped off that plane, I was like, that's cool. And the Topanga scene. We'll get to that in a second. But Jake, I have a little clip of your hair transformation. Let's
Oh
take a
man.
look at that. Yeah. Let's do this.
Yep, there it goes. I don't remember this music playing in the background though.
Oh.
Yep.
There's hair transformation. I added that just because I know there was no audio, so I wanted
That's
some.
funny.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, Jake, when you had, I've never had my hair like dyed or whatever, and but like, did that last long enough for the entire like season 5?
No, no, definitely
Really?
not. Yeah.
Oh man.
To be honest, that was my first time ever dyeing my hair or anything like that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so that was a 4 hour process
Hmm.
initially to
Hmm.
bleach it. It was
Holy
about
4 hours.
yeah, 4 hours. So that was the first time, and then after that, I think it was just touch up. So it just took about like 2 to 2.5 hours every single time they touched up. But we had to do it every week.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, yeah. So that was interesting. I
Yeah,
would
I
not
can imagine.
suggest bleaching your hair. That really does not feel good on the scalp.
Jake, it's funny enough because you kind of just mentioned it. When I first saw you on Cobra Kai as Hyan, I don't know like how nobody like really picked up on this, but like obviously, like I said, you just mentioned it. Rush Hour with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, you
Mhm.
remind me of the main villain, Jun Tao.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Yep, there it is. That's what it was modeled after. That's it.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. I don't know how nobody picked up on this, and I was just like, I was telling my friends when I was watching that, I was like, hey, and they're like, who's Juntao? I was like, you guys never seen Rush Hour? And I was like, are you kidding me? And so they kind of Googled it or whatever, and yeah, there's like a lot of similarities, at least with the hair and stuff like that. So that's really
Yep, yep.
crazy, man. I love that movie, by the way. One and two. I don't know. I didn't like three too much, but I liked one and
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
One and two was badass. And moving along, Jake. Now, how did you land the role to play Hyan-Woo? Were you like specifically brought in just like as a stunt and fight coordinator at first, or um,
Um, yeah, no, so I wasn't actually the stunt or fight coordinator for the show.
oh,
The stunt, yeah, no, the stunt coordinator was Ken Bearfield and Don Lee.
Don Lee? I know
Um,
Don Lee. Yep, he's been
yeah, and
awesome.
then the fight coordinator was technically Don Lee for the show. But he kind of handled both realms of it, where he would stunt coordinate and then also
Okay.
fight coordinate. Um, so I was brought in as a utility guy, so I basically
Oh,
fill many
wow.
roles. That's kind
Oh,
of the point of utility people, is that
I
they're
never
able
heard of
to.
that.
Yeah, so like in season 4, I was also on the team, but again, it was just meant to fill many roles. So I played all the anytime there was a fight in season 4, I was generally somewhere in there, just to fill different spots and to make sure that like we were all doing what we're supposed to and whatnot. And then there's a lot of prep work that was done, so the team would get together and talk about things, and then Don would come and check off all the fights and make sure everything was good and modify everything to kind of fit the story better. And you know it was a really good blend of everyone working together. So that was kind of my role initially, and then that actually lasted only up until prep was done. And once we got done with prep and a little bit into the season, then these new characters were introduced, and then that's kind of when that scrambling happened, where we lost the guy that was going to be doing it. So then I ended up getting thrown in the mix for it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely that I didn't really look for the role at all, if that makes sense. Yeah, it was just kind
Sure.
of yeah, I just happened to be there, and I've worked with Don on a million projects, so we work really well together. So he's like, yeah, let's throw you in.
Yeah, I'm like I said, like I'm glad they did, man, because like I love your character, and especially like the fight scenes. And now, what was it like to have? Oh, but no, this is what I wanted to ask you. Since you said you were kind of brought in as like extras and stuff to do this and do that, like now the clip where Terry Silver was sparring with two with two members of the dojo. Was that you? I remember
Yeah.
when Dan, was it Daniel or Johnny that was looking through the glass? I can't remember exactly. And Terry was like throwing these guys around and stuff like that. They were watching it
Yeah.
from outside. And so that was you, right? But we couldn't
Yes.
see like
Yeah.
your face. So okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. That
Okay.
was yeah, that was interesting. I had to put a because you could still see the blonde hair through the helmet, so I put on
Oh,
like a do. Yeah.
I didn't make that out actually, but I will. I'll go back and look at that. But because
Oh
like
no,
yeah,
you couldn't see it anymore because I put a do-rag on, so it would cover the yeah, so cover the blonde, but yeah, you would have definitely been able to see it through the helmet.
yeah, because you couldn't really okay, because you couldn't really see their face because the clip was so fast, right? He was just
Yeah.
like kicking, tossing everybody. So now Jake, what was it like to have fight scenes with William Zabka and Yuji, two original OGs from the Karate Kid films? You had a fight scene with them twice. First at the Topanga Dojo and the second at Terry Silver home.
Yeah, I mean those guys are pros, man. They come in with a great attitude and a base, a good skill base. And it was a blast to work with them, you know. They're both very hard workers, you know, like Yuji would show up an hour before
Oh wow,
his training sessions, and then we train for an hour, 2 hours, and then he'd stay for another hour after on his own and do his training and stuff. And
awesome.
yeah, and then just like, you know, Billy rolled in and he just rocket, just full blast all the time, ready to go. Yeah, always down for whatever we threw at him. You know, he was always good to go. So yeah,
That's
everyone was just such a blast to work with.
That's awesome. I have a little clip of you. It's a very short clip. Just a couple of your scenes here from season 5. Let's take a little glimpse of that.
I don't think you can beat me.
How long you trained at Kim Da-Eun dojo?
My whole life.
That was awesome, man. Total badass, man. I love it.
Thank you.
Oh man. So Jake, when you see yourself like on Cobra Kai and just like for example, like this little clip I showed, like what goes through your head? Like, because this is like this show is like global. Like everybody knows you now.
Yeah, yeah. What goes through my head?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That all of it was a blur, to be honest, you know. So it's just kind of maybe a little nostalgia, maybe a little like, oh, probably shouldn't have done that, or probably could have done that better. You know, I'm pretty critical of myself when it comes to things.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of actors I've interviewed, I asked them, you know, like, do you watch yourself? You know, when the show's released, and a lot of them are like, no, I'm my worst own critic, and I don't like to. And I was like, really? I was like, I would love to see myself like especially you know, your backspin kicks, acrobatic, and it's just crazy, man. I would be like, oh yeah, man, you know, I got to fight with Yuji and Billy. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'd just be like smiling the whole time. I'd love it. But I get it. I totally get it from your stance. You know what I mean? I've never been in a movie, so it's just easy for me to say. You know what I mean? What I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know it's two different worlds. I'm a fan, and you're you know what I mean? You're in the loop.
Yeah, you
So
know, I mean, everyone has their own thing. You know, some people like to look at themselves. I'm not particularly that person.
that's okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. That's okay. Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I would love to. I would probably sit there and rewatch myself like every second. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd be showing everybody. I was like, hey, look at it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
so Jake, what would you say was like your favorite scene to shoot in the whole season
Um,
5?
that's hard to
That
say.
is a tough one.
That's a
Yeah.
tough one. Yeah, because like I said, everything was a blur. The show went so fast. Like
Yeah.
we had about a week, sometimes a little over a week, but we had about a week and a half to or so to shoot every episode, and there was just so much going on. So you get in there to do a fight. I mean, it'd be prepped and it'd definitely be calm before the storm kind of situation, and
Oh
then
yeah.
suddenly it's like, okay, in action is just blam, get it done, move on, go through, like review the footage. Okay, we're done. Bye guys. And then you're on to working on the next like 5 or 6 fights. You know, it was just kind of a blur. So I didn't really get to like savor any of it. Like it wasn't like any,
Sure.
you know, like in the feature films, you generally will get multiple weeks to shoot a single fight, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Depending on how elaborate it is. But yeah, it was definitely kind of all a blur. But I really did enjoy fighting Yuji and Billy. That fight to me was one of the most fun. You know, like I said, those guys are so great to work with, um, and you know, it's great to work with people who reciprocate the hard work. You know, because um, they have so much on their plate, the actors do, that they're pulled in like 10 different directions at any time between PR and promotion and like just like the learning their lines for the next episodes and learning the fights on top of that and then putting it all together and figuring a schedule out. Like it's kind of and you know, some of them have families, so it's kind of like
Right.
a mix of everything for them. So I really appreciate that, you know, those two just really going to bat and working as hard as they could for everything. So yeah, that was a
Yeah.
blast.
It's funny you mentioned how quick they shot it, because that's true. Because season 4 and season 5 was both released in like a 9-month span from each other. So I can imagine how fast you guys shoot. Like, let's do this, like, keep going, keep going. And
Yeah.
but you know, they spoiled Cobra Kai fans with that. Nobody expected it to be that fast, which is good. But now you know how the fans are now. Oh, when's season 6 coming out? We want season
Right.
6, and I'm just
Right.
like, oh, maybe they shouldn't have done that. So, but, yeah, but it's all good. It was you know, it was worth it. I'm happy with it, and I would wait whether it's a year or 2 years if there is a season 6. But in the final episode, Jake, when Johnny throws you into the wall in Terry's home. Now, you performed that stunt and you had to jump off a trampoline and you landed on your side. That looked pretty painful. Were you okay?
Yeah, I was good. You know, we go through a lot of things as being a stunt person. You end up doing a lot of stuff that looks painful, and you learn how to break it as best as possible, disperse all that energy coming into the ground as much as possible.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, I definitely it wasn't one of those things that I was terribly worried about. Like I've definitely hit crazier and harder things in the past,
I
and
can imagine.
you know, one thing I repeat to myself before I do a stunt generally is just, you know, film's forever. You know, it'll hurt for a little while, but film's forever.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's just like when you got like thrown into the wall, bam, into those samurai swords, and you just landed. That's when I was like, oh, dude, did this guy just like dislocate his shoulder? I was like, oh man. I do have a clip of that. Let me show the viewers of that.
Oh yeah.
Let me pop that up. It's really good show. Oh, yeah, right there when you landed, I was like, "Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool." Man. Now, was that actually William Zabka that threw you, or was that
Oh yeah, that
that
was
was William? Okay,
that was Billy.
it
Yeah,
looked
he
like
was right. Yeah, he had his we set it up so that when I hit the trampoline, had him just grab me and, you know, follow through with my momentum. And I mean, he was a champ. He did a first shot. You know, we practiced it, I think, once just with the grab, obviously not the flip. And then,
yeah.
you know, he hit it first, nailed it first shot. Didn't make me do a second one. So
Oh, I would hope not. Right after that, you'd just be like, but in that business, I'm sure you've done it.
oh yeah, take
You'd
twos
had
are very
to.
real. And take
Exactly.
sevens and fives and tens. They're all
Yeah.
real.
Oh yeah, like I am. I don't know. Like I always get like criticized by my friends. I'm a total behind the scenes type guy. I love to see like, you know, how everything's made, how everything's done, and that's what I'm like. Don't get me wrong. I love the show. Obviously, you know, I have a Cobra Kai podcast show, but like
Yeah.
what you do is like what I'm really interested in. And I do have some photos of your time on set. Let's kind of like take a look at these, and we'll just brief description as we go through them. Now, this one is probably one of my favorites because this is like absolutely badass. The fist. This is so cool. Like you got the private jet behind there and the fist. You got Tyron Woodley, et cetera, and the rest of the gang, man. That's awesome. So now you guys filmed this at a private airport, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. We were at a private airport. The jet was real. That was not a set piece.
Right.
I don't know how they got it.
I was gonna ask you about that. How the hell did you guys get that jet there?
Yeah, didn't ask about that, but you know, they were like, go in the jet, walk down, Okay, look badass. There we go.
Yeah, I really love this photo, man. And see, man, even this picture, you look like Juntao from Rush Hour. That's crazy, man. Next picture, you and Don Lee.
Yeah. This was Don's directing debut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's been behind the scenes, like, helping directors, get their image that they have in their head onto the screen
Sure.
and safely, for a long time.
Hmm.
So, we were really excited because, like I said, I've done a million projects with Don,
With Don, yeah.
and we go way back, and he's been a really, really hard worker, just really skilled at what he does. And so this
Hmm.
was a huge day for him to get his DGA Directors Guild
That's
card,
awesome.
on this scene right here. This was the Billy beatdown scene.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So he directed that whole scene and everything that went along with it. So that was a huge day. Yeah, this is a good picture. I like it.
Yeah, like Don Lee and yourself, I know both of you actually been around for a long time. I've seen like your guys' credits, and it's amazing, man. I'm like totally baffled by it. And kudos to you guys, man. I'm glad you guys like came on set and did what you guys did, man. Part of the family, Cobra Kai family. So
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
for sure. Next photo here is at the Topanga location here. You got a
Yeah.
couple of the stunt guys, yourself, Zabka's there, Yuji's there, Alicia's there in the background. She's so
Oh
tiny.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
she's so small.
yeah.
Yeah, she's there, and this is pretty cool. And I really enjoyed the fight scene with yourself and Johnny and Chozen. That was really cool, man.
Yeah, that was
And
fun.
and let's move on to this picture right here. This is another cool one. After that brutal fight, like you guys are all bleeding, and
Yep.
this is so cool. You got Don Lee there, and like pretty much. So that guy on Johnny's Zabka's left, that's his stunt man, right?
Yeah. His name is Jesse House. Yeah,
I was wondering
House.
his name. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I haven't seen
he's
him.
great, man. He was one. He came in as, like, he's utility guy as well. Like, he just man of many traits. So, but yeah, utility. I think you had mentioned something like extra. Utility stunts is more like you got a lot of skills, so
Mhm.
they can utilize you in multiple places. Like, do a little rigging, or do some editing, or do some filming or whatever. Jesse he's a super handy dude. Really, really cool guy, really talented. So yeah,
That,
absolutely.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And now, Jake, what are your thoughts like when you see, for example, Thomas, who's 60 years old, Zabka, who just turned 57, Ralph 60, Yuji 63, and delivered these fight performances at their age?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, amazing guys, man. Every single one of them, they all went hard. Every single one of them was in their training. Don and Ken had set up training time for every single actor to come in, and just make sure that they kind of understood, and the base of the martial arts, and kind of went through, and they all did all of their training nonstop. And it was, like I said, everyone had a massive schedule. Lots of people with families and other lives, and not to mention all the stuff they do for the show. So yeah, they all came in and killed it and did some hard work, and it was really cool to see them just get out there and perform, and do what they do best. So
Definitely, because like I have a couple friends that are, in their 40s, and they're already complaining, oh, I got arthritis. And you see these guys in their 60s, like, I mean, just doing what they do. And it's just like they haven't lost a touch, and they stay active,
yeah.
which is really cool to see. And now, Jake, I was thinking the other day about your character, and the Fist, obviously, on when and if there will be a season 6, on how cool it would be to have a flashback scene of all you guys training back in Korea with a background story. Like we know the origin of Tang Sudo um, from there, so I could just imagine, the training being far more superior and harder than how they train in, for example, the United States. So I'd like to see
Sure.
like a younger you guys, because you've trained with Master Kim. So I would
Yeah.
like to see that, man. That would be really cool.
That would be super cool. Yeah. You
And
should pitch that.
oh, definitely the big 3 watch. So guys,
There you go.
let's get to town. If you guys haven't written anything yet, there you go. I want to see that, man. And Just a few more questions before we finish off. Just prior to getting knocked out by Mike Barnes in the last episode, you grabbed a samurai sword, and I was wondering if you had any training in the past with katana sword, samurai sword, whatever you want to call it. Have you had any training with that?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Really? Oh man,
yeah.
I want to be your best friend, man. We got to get together. we got to get together, man. I've been dying to do that.
Yeah, no, you should get out there. It's really great. I've been most of it has been performance training, like just non-combative, if that makes sense. Like you're still
Okay.
doing, yeah, in other words, like not actual fighting with it, but more like learning cuts, strikes, blocks, positions, stances, and chaining them together and stuff, which has really helped with film fighting and stuff. But yeah, like one thing I would like to do is to get more into the actual like kendo, like
Yeah, me
fighting with
too.
the gear and everything. That's something that I've been looking forward to trying out when I get some time.
Oh man,
Yeah, because I
that's.
you learn a lot of stuff for performance, and then you
Mhm.
want to, I don't know, I like to stress test anything that I do. So
Yeah,
um,
I'm the same way as you. I'm a very curious person, and I love trying new things. I'm like, whether I'm good or not, I still like go out there and do it. And
yeah.
that's why I thought I asked you that question, because when you were like swinging it, I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing with the katana sword. Even though it's just a little glimpse, but still, you can tell. You can tell, man. You
Yeah.
can just
Yeah,
tell.
thanks.
And that's so cool, man. And last question, because I don't want to take too much of your time, Jake. Now, is there like are there any projects that you're allowed to talk about that maybe you completed or worked on that you can share with us viewers?
Um, let's see. I'm at work right now, but I can't necessarily say what I'm working on. I don't
That's
think
awesome.
yet. But
Yeah.
very soon, I guess it'll be out in the world, what I'm working on. But for now, that's a no. But
Hmm.
for I guess the last project I can talk about is there's a movie called Weird that's coming out.
Okay.
It's about Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh,
It's
geez, I grew up with Weird Al, man. I
yeah.
used to laugh at his Michael Jackson videos. You remember
Yep.
those? Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
man.
yeah. We're
Oh,
coming off that
dude.
movie, we had a lot of references. Actually, we Al was at on set every single day with us.
Oh man, that's awesome.
He's
So you actually got to meet him.
oh yeah, really amazing dude.
Sweet.
Really sweet, humble, like down to earth guy. Yeah, just there to make sure everything is going well, and he's yeah, solid. But yeah, that was a good one to work on. But I think that one's releasing. I think it's already started screening around,
Oh,
but
sweet. I'm gonna
I
definitely look
think
out
its
for that.
official release is going to be on Roku. And that one
Okay.
is November 9th, I believe,
Oh,
November
that's
7th.
coming up. Yeah, that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's right around the corner, man. That's so
Exactly.
cool.
So yeah, so that one was a good one. So definitely check it out. Weird.
Oh, I am for sure.
Yeah, it's weird. It's Weird Al's biopic.
That's
Biopic. I've heard many ways of saying it, but
yeah, that's so cool, man. Oh man, I'm glad I interviewed at the right time, man. And
yeah.
that's really cool. And Jake, I just want to really, really thank you. I know you're a busy guy. I want to thank you so much for coming on here. I was like so excited to interview you and actually get to talk to you and meet you now. You know what I mean? Because like when I saw your character, I was like, man, I want to interview this guy. This guy looks so cool. I know he's got a story to him. And because you were like one of the few, actually, if probably just the one that actually got lines from the fist.
Yeah,
So,
I think
so
so.
if that was a betting man, Jake, I want to say I hope and I don't think we've seen the last of you. I think there's more of Hyan-Woo that the fans would love to see more of you. Definitely, I know I would. And you grew on me. I could say like you're probably one of the characters I just fell in love with, man. And I'm so glad you're on board on Cobra Kai, and I definitely hope to see definitely more of you, man. If there is
Thank you so
when and
much.
if there is a season 6, man. And you're a really cool dude, man. I'm so glad you came on here. You're a humble guy, man. And I know like a lot of the cast members on Cobra Kai are the same way. And
Yeah.
it's like one big happy family. So, and yeah, you know what I mean. Who knows? Like we got to see what goes on with the Taikai tournament and and see if there's any play on that with the big three. I know it's not their call. It's really Netflix for all the viewers. It's not always the big three's call. So I know they got to wait upon that. So I know fans are so like anxious, right, for season 6 and like that. But when I do talk to the big three, one thing I'm going to tell them is I want to see a Canadian contingent of fighters if there is a Taikai. You know what I mean? Hey, man, we could fight, man. If you ever watch
They'd just be the nicest fighters in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, see, I hope not, man. You know what I mean? I would hope not. I don't want to see them losing. You know what I mean? Like, you know what's funny is ice hockey, for example. If you've ever been to an ice hockey game, whether it's minor leagues or the pros, dude, these guys are insane. Like they can fight. I know I'm not comparing hockey fights to karate or anything.
No, totally.
Yeah, but
like, they go at it. Yeah,
it's a blood sport, man. It's a blood sport. I've seen some crazy stuff, not just on the ice, but in the stands too, man. You're just like, geez.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, Jake, once again, man, thank you for coming on. And Hyan-Woo, man, love your character, man. And
thank you.
And I hope to see you as well if there is season 6, of course.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It was great being here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jake. And that is it for Cobra Kai Canada. Peace.